everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini.
Good evening, everybody.
We teach about federal work comp. We educate on everything federal work comp. What else do we do?
Well, we have a franchise called Federal Injury Centers. You'll see the logo behind us. You can find us at federalinjurycenters.com. Our franchise is built just like a McDonald's franchise would be built. Not that we make hamburgers, but we have to follow franchise rules the way they do. And our franchise has doctors, medical doctors, chiropractors, physical therapy assistants, massage therapists. We're multidisciplinary clinics who are specialized in helping you get your OWCP claims approved, getting you better, and getting you back to work, which is, as I understand it, everyone's goal.
Yes. And just because it's a chiropractic office, don't think you cannot go.
Yeah, you're going to get told all the time, that's a chiropractor. You can't go there. You should say, yeah, but my medical doctor's there too. And that's all that matters. Trust me, your supervisors are not experts in healthcare. Don't let them tell you that.
All right, so tonight we're going to do Q&A. I know last night was a little late, but I asked, what topics did you guys want us to educate about?
And before she gets into that, I want you to know I have no idea what topics or questions she's about to say. And so this is like the ultimate stump the chump night because as far as I know, this could be like something I have no idea. That's not likely, but let's see what happens.
So we do Q&A once or twice a month because we see a lot of the questions come in and it's the same questions kind of over and over. And I know a lot of you miss out on when we do these live chats. As you saw on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, I put a post out that says, if you want to make sure you get on our training, please click the follow button. And we've gotten over, what did I say, 137 new followers in the last month.
That's pretty awesome. You should add to that and hit the follow button. If you're here anyways, hit the follow button and then tell your friends and tell them to hit the follow button. And why do we want that? It's not vanity. It's because when we do stuff, you can see it. That's important. And when we go live, you see that we went live and you get access to all the content that we post, and we post daily. And we don't just spam. Everything that we put on here is valuable to your life, especially if you have a work injury. So hit that follow button.
Yeah. And so tonight I'm going to, under the post I made, I'm going to read some of the questions from there and then we'll answer from the audience. Frank, you're always the first one on. I love it.
Hey, Frank. And
So
Michael, what's up?
Michael says, my case has been approved. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But they still make me get approved for physical therapy.
Welcome to everyone's world, Michael. All physical therapy past 120 days of, yeah, just put it this way. This is a more simple way to put it. It all requires pre-authorization. It's not just you. That's the rule.
What's up?
What's up, Frank?
Okay. So I'm going to let Chris real quickly talk about what's coming up for us in September that you guys should be paying attention to while I do a quick share.
Now, I remembered I went and rewatched our video from last week, and she told me to do that. And I'll be darned if I didn't just change the subject and not tell you guys what we were going to be doing. Instead, I said something else. And I listened to it, and I went, well, chalk that one up to the dummy. So what we have coming up in September would be really interesting if I had my calendar in front of me. But here's what I know for sure. We're going to Orlando.
That's
okay, great. That's the thing. We almost stumped the chump like on minute 4. We're going to Orlando to do a 3-hour live training with APW of Florida. And if you're with APW of Florida and you just heard Chris Helms say that the training is 3 hours, and now you're thinking, oh no, believe me, ask your friends. You're going to have a good time. It's the most educational training you will ever get in OWCP, and I hope you will have wild success. If you ever have a work injury, I hope you don't have one.
Right.
And then tell your friends, because if they're not there, they're going to be missing out.
So, Dr. Dorfman.
What's up, Dave Dorfman?
All right. And we're actually seeing him too in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so Dr. Dorfman's in Melbourne, Florida, and he's a partner in the Orlando office as well. And they're just killing it. They're getting claims accepted left and right because that's what we do. On top of it, he happens to just be probably the nicest person I know.
You know, Dr. Dorfman, it's funny. Yesterday, I saw a new primary care doctor, and although he looks nothing like you, if I was to close my eyes, it was you. Like his tone of voice, exactly like you. And I took a liking to him even more because he sounded like you. So,
No, she does not close her eyes and see you.
all right, I just have a few more shares. And again, tonight, what we're going to do is answers the questions that you guys put down on the post last night, and then whatever questions you have on OWCP, we will also go ahead and answer that. Just a couple more share. Oh, sorry.
And you all need to be sharing as well. And why do I say need to be? Like, hey, don't tell me what to do.
We're
Look,
going to tell you what to do.
I know what that's like. I'm married to her. I'm not telling you what to do. What I'm saying is help your friends. Your friends
Help
are
your
not
brothers
here.
and sisters.
They're not here.
Yeah.
And when they're not here, they don't get the benefit of what you're about to get. And so let everyone know that we're here. We've been doing this since 2016. That's back before I even ever heard of Facebook Live.
That's true. He was like, what?
So she said, hey, have you ever heard of Facebook Live? And I said, no, what's that? And she explained it to me. She said, well, why don't we do a workers' comp show? And I said, well, that's nonsense. That'll never work. And I'm so thankful that I was wrong. And it's crazy because, like, I can count on one hand the number of times in my adult life that I've been wrong. And that was like one. So that was the one. And it was.
Yeah, whatever.
That was the
All
one.
right. So I'm going to. Let's see who we have on here.
Yeah, Mary. My eyes aren't as good as they were 30
Maria,
years ago.
good evening. Mary, Federal Injury Centers of Greenville, who has, I think, I just got a new text from Wendy. What did I do with my text? That they just got like 200 and.
Tell us a number.
Tell us a number again.
Post a number here. So they are, put it this way, 26 out of 29 people have accepted claims. Does that sound good or good? Because that's really what we're talking about. And it's more like 260 out of 299. And the rest of them are just waiting.
Okay. We are asking followers on what topics in OWCP would you like us to discuss in chats. So, and I also said it can't be anything we covered in the last couple of weeks, which somebody said about schedule awards.
274 out of 299. Okay, so 27 out of 29.
Nice.
Yeah, and not schedule awards, only because that's an entire hour all by itself.
And we did that last week.
And we will do it again because we know how important of a topic it is. And you can look back and see lots of Wednesday night chats where we did schedule awards. But it's just one of those things where, like, when I get into it, if I answer one question, that's all it's going to be the rest of the night. And there's a lot of people that want to know more about things other than just schedule awards.
All right. So these are the questions. You can put your questions down in the chat, but these are the questions from last night. Mary said, how do we add another case to our existing case? What are the procedures needed? Whom do we go to?
To add a new case to an existing case. Okay, so I know what you mean, but there are people here who don't. So let me explain something. So you actually cannot add a new case to an existing case. What you're asking is, how do I add a new injury to an existing approved condition? And that's called a diagnosis expansion. You've got, say, like a knee injury, and as a result of the right knee being hurt, your left knee starts hurting because you're limping around. And so now the left knee can be covered because if you never had the right knee injury, you wouldn't have the left knee hurting from limping around. So that's an example of a diagnosis expansion. And the way you get that approved is you have your doctor write a report that we call diagnosis expansion report. And they have to explain medically why the new condition is related to the existing approved condition. If you don't have any approved conditions, you can't do any diagnosis expansions. But as soon as it gets approved, you can.
Yu Marquez, how long can one be on OWCP? Then how can one get out of OWCP?
Okay, so getting out's easy. Get better and go back to work. All right, so that's, I think, obvious. And that's our goal. That should be your goal. People that I talk to, they say that their biggest problem is often not the injury. The biggest problem is often the result of not getting paid because you can't work. So our goal is to get you back to work. And, you know, we do that primarily through physical therapy with physical therapists. And then we get supervisors. Like we had a supervisor the other day and a claims examiner who said, well, you know, be careful with them because all they do is physical therapy. Okay, well, there's physical therapy, there's injections, and there's surgery. Okay, so with physical therapy, we don't have to stick needles in you or cut you, and it's generally effective. So yeah, we do a lot of physical therapy. The best thing for you is to get better, right, and get back to work. But I said all that on a tangent, but there was another. What was the first part of that question?
How long can you be on
Oh yeah.
OWCP? Then how do you get out of it?
So how long can you be on it? I've known people on it for decades.
Yeah, I remember that one little old man from 1989, and he just wanted therapy.
Yeah. So I've known people that have been on it for what seems like a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's rare. It's not the rule, it's the exception to the rule. But you ask how long can you be, and that's an answer. But there's also another answer. If you're a rural carrier and you're out for 2 years, you can lose your position. If you are a regular city carrier, it's 1 year. A clerk, 1 year. Mail handler, 1 year. And so there's also that consideration too. You need to get with your union in advance of your time period and start strategizing and plan for what's next. But also communicate with your doctor and say, hey, doc, I want to go back to work. What's up? And then work that plan too.
If you know you're feeling well, and the therapy is just something that's just because you're going and you know you're feeling well and you can get back to work on full duty, do it.
Yeah,
Let
that
your
doesn't
doctor
mean
know.
that doesn't mean you can't still go to therapy if you need it. Some people still need to go 2 or 3 times a month just to keep their symptoms at bay. But just communicate with your doctor and find out, am I better? Can I go back to work full duty? And then get a new CA-17 and get it done.
Those of you that are hopping on, just so you know, go ahead. You can post your questions live on the chat. I am actually reading some of the questions that when I asked last night what topics you guys wanted to cover, and I said, hey, might as well just answer them now. Christy Phelps, I know I should have, but I never filed an accident report or anything for work comp. I had to have surgery ASAP due to repetitive motion that caused my injuries, and I couldn't wait on work comp. The surgery failed. I just had more intensive surgery to correct it, and it failed. Is there anything I can do?
Well, you can still report or file your claim. You already reported your injury. You reported it the day you told your supervisor. You have 3 years to do that. So when you told your supervisor, you already reported it. So get your claim accepted, because a lot of the times, and I can't speak to what your personal situation is, but a lot of times people aren't getting all the treatment they need because they're paying for it out of their own pocket, and it's expensive. Deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance, they're not cheap. When you get it on OWCP, it's covered. You don't pay for it. And OWCP covers thousands and thousands and thousands of treatments. So in other words, they pay for it. And that's one thing I would do. And I would get with an OWCP trained doctor and see where you can go from there, because it's usually the case that there's something else that can be done.
Yep.
And I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what the something else is, but that's exactly what I would do.
Jason Hinkle, the difference between work-related injury and illnesses, needle sticks exposure, when the injury turns into an illness.
Well, okay, so you've got there's only 2 ways in OWCP to file an injury. It's an injury that happened in a single shift. A needle stick counts for that. Or an injury that develops over time, or a condition, an illness that develops over time. In fact, we know at an agency here, it's better if I don't call these agencies out for things like this, but we had an agency here in Florida that had a mold problem. And OSHA came out and proved there was a mold problem. And those people had lung conditions that developed over time. That's a CA2 claim. Anything that happens in a single shift, like a needle stick, or like you lift a package and you hurt your back, or you step off of a curb and you hurt your knee, that's a CA1. Those are the only 2 ways to file an injury in OWCP. And so you just have to figure out which one of those categories you fit into and just go that route.
Bree Marshall, how do you go about receiving a schedule award?
Oh, here we go.
All right, and remember.
Okay, I'm going to answer this, but nobody, please don't follow up with how much money can I get on my injury, because I won't know the answer. But how you file for a schedule award is your doctor.
Hold on. And if you really want to know about schedule awards, we just covered that almost an hour and a half last week. So just go to last week's chats and you'll get to see in detail about schedule awards.
But I can't have anybody think that you stumped the chump, so I'm going to answer your question. First, your claim has to be approved. If it's not approved, you're not eligible for any benefits, including schedule award. 2, you have to make it to what doctors call maximum medical improvement. That means you have to get as good as you can possibly get, which means follow doctor's orders, get treatment, do the things they ask you to do. With that said, you can object to things. If a doctor says you need surgery and you fear surgery, you don't have to do it. But then you might be at MMI at that point, maximum medical improvement. Once the doctor says you're at MMI, then you get an impairment rating. The impairment rating is attached to a CA7 claim for compensation. And then you turn that in to OWCP and you wait. And it's the only time that I will allow you to use hope, because hope is not a strategy. But in this case, you just got to hope for the best, because denials happen. They'll send you to second opinion doctors a lot. A way to avoid that is to talk to your friend and our friend, attorney Eric Blowers. And he's got a massively high success rate in schedule awards.
Tom Molinek. Transportation to see a DOL doctor. They sent a car 2 hours one way for the visit.
Nice. I mean,
So I know you're not on because I don't see you, but when you go back and watch this, and I'll comment on all of these from last night and let you know that we shouted out your name with your question, so you can go hear the answer.
but let me just tell the audience, OWCP sending you a car is interesting.
Yeah, that's new.
That the drive was 2 hours
Very
is
interesting.
almost unheard of. They'll normally only pay for up to 100 miles round trip. So, but there are special circumstances, and I'm sure that this is one of them. I'm sure Tom had a special circumstance.
Sheila Bradley, what next? Is there a general timeline that goes from start to finish? Like this is what should happen next. What should be filed, done next? So yeah, so the first thing you want to do, and this is for everybody, read the CA10. Pull a CA10 up.
It's called What a Federal Employee Should Do When Injured at Work. It's probably the most important thing, form, OWCP form, that you can know about. You can find that form at our website, federalinjurycenters.com. You could Google OWCP Form CA10. It'll tell you everything to do to get your claim initiated. From there, you need to go to a doctor of your choosing, not of your supervisor's choosing. And you should not choose a silly doctor just because your friend said so, like get an ortho. You wouldn't know how many times someone had just had a sprained ankle and said, go see an ortho. Why? Has anybody ever heard of an ortho doing surgery on a sprained ankle?
Let's go ask
I mean,
the boys.
NBA players sprain their ankles, every night. They don't get surgery. So make a good choice. You need to search Google OWCP injury doctor with your city and state. Okay, that or work injury. OWCP work injury doctor, city and state. Find a doctor, follow the doctor's orders, get better, get back to work.
It's funny. I said, let's talk to our boys. Two of them work at an orthopedic doctor, so we hear all the stories.
And I guarantee you they will never set in on a surgery for a sprained ankle.
Yeah. Katie Hill. What to do about problems that aren't incident injuries, such as a back problem that happened due to work over time? Where do you start? When do you file something? And what is needed?
So I think this is the best question so far. Who was that?
Katie Hill Bicey.
Okay, Katie.
Basie.
So this is the best question so far. And let me tell you why. Most people with this problem don't even know that they have an opportunity to get help with OWCP.
Correct.
They've been doing their job. Like, I like the example of letter carriers, because letter carriers, by their written job description, walk 8 to 10 miles a day. And when you talk to them, and I do it all the time, and I say, raise your hand if you've been with the agency more than 10 years, everybody in the room raises their hand. And I say, keep it up for 20 years. And almost everybody in the room raises their hand. And so what that means is you've got people walking 8 to 10 miles a day, carrying 35-pound satchels, 70-pound boxes, up and down stairs. And they're doing that for upwards of 20 plus years. And those people have chronic knee problems, chronic back problems, chronic hip problems, chronic shoulder problems. But they can't point to a single incident. They can't say, well, I stepped out of my vehicle and twisted my knee, or I picked up a package and I felt a pop in my back. But instead, they're saying, just my back hurts, my knee hurts, and I don't know why. That's a CA2 condition. And so what you have to do is go to the doctor and say, doc, let's just confirm this. I don't rock climb. I don't mountain climb. I don't cycle. I'm not a weekend warrior. I don't play basketball, so on and so on and so on. And the doc will say, well, what do you do? Well, I carry the mail. Oh, well, this is probably work related. And at that point, you have 3 years to report your injury. But why would you wait that long? Report it tomorrow, right? Or today if you can. And then go to ecomp.dol.gov and fill out your CA2 form. These injuries are covered exactly like traumatic injuries that happen in a single shift. There is absolutely no difference except two things. You can't get a CA16 to pay your bills, and you can't have COP to cover time off. But all of your health care can be covered, and all of your future time can be covered with LWAP.
Kevin Andrew, how to fill out a CA7 form.
Well, you go to federalinjurycenters.com, click the videos tab, and watch our partner Tom's video on how to fill out a CA7 form. The end.
A lot of videos are on there, and Tom does a great job because he literally goes through
Every box
by box from number 1 all the way to what, number 30 whatever.
Yeah, and it's two pages, and he'll tell you that I've said this is boring because it's boring. He probably fell asleep when he was making the video, but you need that video. That's very, very important to you.
And he
So
really dummies it down for you to understand what to fill in.
yeah, not that you're dummies, but OWCP is hard.
It is.
And so that CA7 form, I think, has more boxes than a CA1 or 2. And so we made a video. Tom made a very, very high level video. So go take a look at that.
It's especially if you've never had to deal with OWCP before and you're looking at this CA1 that has what, almost 4 pages, including instructions. What the
Well,
instructions look like foreign language because we've seen it.
except we're talking about CA7.
It's hard. No, I'm saying
You
in
said one.
general.
Yeah.
All these forms in general, if you
They're
don't
complicated.
know anything about OWCP, it seriously looks like foreign language.
So they're intimidating, actually. Most people will look at it and go, oh, no, forget about it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so we try to do our part to help you understand what, how to fill these things out.
Ben Martin, what is the difference between a CA2 and a CA2A?
Oh, that's another great question. Ben, so a CA2 is to report an initial condition. Maybe it's been lingering and you've been dealing with this for the last 2 years, but you're reporting that condition for the first time. That's a CA2. So it's a condition that developed over 2 or more shifts or 2 or more days, weeks, months, or years. Okay. A CA2A is called a notice of recurrence. The purpose of that form is for any injury, whether it was a 1 or a 2, CA1 or CA2, and it resolved and later came back. It's a notice of recurrence. So the CA2A is for any condition that comes back. But I caution you all, CA2As get denied a lot, like way more than 1s and 2s. And so before you just go and do a 2A, like your supervisor will almost certainly tell you to do, go back to the doctor and make sure it's the same condition. Here's why. I like using the knee as an example. I used it earlier. I use it now. The knee has 4 ligaments, tendons, muscles, and cartilage and bones. And I've had 2 knee injuries resulting in 3 major knee surgeries. And if tomorrow my knee was hurting, I would not be sure which ligament it's hurting.
Right.
I have an idea if it's on the inside or the outside, but there's 2 that cross each other on the inside. I don't know which one of those is hurting. And so I wouldn't just assume that it's the same condition. I'd go and have my doctor confirm it because it may be something new, at which point you'd fill out a CA1 or 2 based on how the injury occurred.
Penny Stanley.
I'm really on fire tonight. Like, I'm good. This is going well.
Well, last week it was me. Now this week it's you.
Yeah.
Penny Story says, how to get your mileage to and from the doctor's appointment paid for. You can absolutely get it paid for.
Yeah. So the OWCP 957 is a mileage reimbursement form, and they will reimburse you for up to 100 miles round trip. But on that form, it's interesting. They'll reimburse hotel, airfare, cab. There's an other where you could put Uber and Lyft, and they'll reimburse meals. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But all of these things outside of the 100 miles round trip, I strongly recommend you call your claims examiner and get prior authorization.
For sure.
But I have seen people have their hotels and airplanes paid for.
What?
Oh, yeah. It's rare, but it can happen.
Right.
And so that's how you get that done. But you got to make sure you're attaching documentation. You can't just fill out forms and send them in. You got to show like where you went, what you're doing, and maybe even get a doctor's note explaining why you were getting the mileage.
Joy Ritter, how long do you have to be on OWCP before they try to retrain you to do another job if you are still injured?
Depends on your craft. I mentioned this earlier. Rural carrier gets 2 years. It's probably the only benefit a rural carrier has that's better than the rest of you. And the rest of the post office gets 1 year. And then if you're with AFGE, check with your specific agency, but it's probably a year as well. And after that, you need, or before that time period, you need to be planning and strategizing for what you're going to do.
Maria said, can you do the mileage online or mail it in?
You can e-comp it.
So just right over your portal.
Yeah, be sure you attach the documentation. By attaching it, you essentially just upload documents. You're just uploading it.
Terry, I know. Why would you be taking a plane to a doctor's appointment? Because there's probably no one
Yeah.
that does OWCP.
So these are great questions,
Yeah.
Terry. I don't know what state you're in, but you should
New York.
search. Oh, you're in New York. Okay, so I know how many offices do what you do in New York, but if you're in Connecticut, there's 0. If you're in Vermont, there's 0. Maine, there's 0. There's 2 in Massachusetts. So you're starting to get the point. Most states, like if you're in Nebraska, you're not going to find somebody in Nebraska.
No.
Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana. We're just opening the very first one in Nevada. So the first 3 or 4 that were ever in California are us. And so it's really, really hard for people to find doctors. And that's very, very frustrating for people. And sometimes they have to travel across state lines.
Terry, when we first started our franchise.
Oh, yeah. We met. And I'm looking at the profile picture, and I remember talking to you at length, Terry. So nice to see you.
Terry, when we first opened our first franchise, we had 11 people driving from South Carolina to Clearwater, Florida every 2 weeks.
It's crazy. So what we did is we just opened offices everywhere between here and there.
So
They
now
don't
they
do
don't
that
have to
anymore.
do that. Yeah. Marie Knowles. This is why we do what we do here. Very first steps to take when you get hurt at work. So many people don't have a clue. And this is why we tell you, come on down Wednesday night chats.
So Marie, I like that you asked this question because you may not be aware of this, but I've written 4 books on this topic. They are the definitive guide on what to do in OWCP. By and large, nobody else has really tried to write on this topic, probably because they were falling asleep as they wrote it. And I wrote my first book in 3 days, so I did not sleep at all. But after writing those books, I've realized that there's still questions like this, and still lots of people who haven't heard of Breaking OWCP, which are the books. You can find those at breakingowcp.com. But I'm also going to be writing a guide based on, so I have mentors as well. And my mentor said, you need to create a guide, the first 5 things you do after a work injury. And I was like, well, holy cow, Sean, why didn't I think of that? I'm the only person that even writes about this stuff. So coming soon are the first 5 things you should do after an OWCP work injury. But here's what those 5 things are probably going to look like. Tell your supervisor right away you're hurt. Immediately go to eComp and fill out your CA1 or 2. That's 2. Number 3, if it's a CA1, demand a form CA16 and that pays your medical bills for the first 60 days. Elect continuation of pay and choose your own doctor. Those are the 5 most important things you can do. And I didn't know you were going to ask that, and I hadn't actually thought much about it. And so this isn't by memory. I'll tell you again, though. Tell your supervisor right away. Go to eComp and fill out your forms. Demand a CA16, get COP, and choose your own doctor.
And you're not going to remember that,
but you can go back and replay this as many times as you want. And the 5 things guide is coming soon.
So Kristen just said she looked everywhere, and it states that it has to be mailed in, the reimbursements.
Well, call your claims examiner because
we have a lot of people that upload them.
Let me tell you why. Because eComp is relatively new. In fact, the CA10 was only revised since 1987. It was finally revised in 2021. And in 2021 is the first time they ever put eComp on the CA10. So things change. In fact, during COVID, they put out a bulletin. FICA did a bulletin on telehealth because everyone was staying home. And they had some crazy rules in their bulletin. And it just turns out they were just rushing it. And how do you blame them? Okay, we were all rushing to try to figure this out. During that time, I rushed and wrote a book in 3 days and had a terrible error, but I've already fixed it. But we were all rushing. So call your claim examiner because I disagree. I think it's a form that's easily uploaded.
Terry, yes, we are definitely trying to get at least one federal injury center's office in every state. We know it needs multiples, but even if it's one, at least with a drive, that'll be your best bet to saving your life and financial and your medical health. So we're trying as fast as we can.
And the good news is we have roughly a dozen of these in progress right now.
Yeah.
That we're trying to get onboarded.
All right. Shaji John. Number one, about the second opinion. The surgeon recommended surgery, but OWCP denied it and scheduled a second opinion with their doctor.
Yeah.
Number two, about case upgrade. For example, the case was accepted as impingement syndrome, but the doctor's chart includes additional diagnosis like rotator cuff tear and bicep tendon issues. Do we need to upgrade the case to include these codes?
Absolutely. So for the audience here, upgrade is an old term. So you've been studying OWCP for a while. They've changed it to expansion. But yeah, any valid condition related to the injury should be on your approved claim. So you'll have to do a diagnosis expansion for all of those. My gut feeling is they denied surgery because one of two things. One, the diagnosis did not typically require surgery. I heard you say impingement syndrome. I'm not sure if that requires surgery, but where I usually see this is like a sprain. And the diagnosis that's approved is a sprain, but there's actually a ligament tear or a herniated disc, but it's not an approved condition. And so, although you do have a condition that's surgical, OWCP doesn't acknowledge that it's their responsibility. So, you have to get that added. And the second opinion thing is just part of life. You have to go to it. The key is that your doctor writes great medical narratives because the claims examiner is going to weigh your doctor's medical information against the second opinion's medical information. And then if there's like a tie that needs to be broken, they go to a referee doctor that is generally a board certified doctor who is, I think, independent and I think unbiased. And so that's not always bad. But yeah, when you need diagnosis expansions, they'll do CCOP second opinion visits a lot because they're like, what the heck is happening here? It's better to get all your diagnosis approved up front. And then if there's a surgery that doesn't necessarily match up with the diagnosis, they'll do that too.
Oh, look, Greenville said you have to mail it in. Okay, so you have to mail it in, folks.
All right. Well, I think that's stupid. I think technology says scan and upload, but okay.
All right,
And
so
by the way, mailing it in is just a delay. That's
I
so
know.
stupid. Now, okay, it's got to go through the mail. Post office, you're super efficient. I know I get my mail pretty easy and fast. And the stuff I mail out, I only use USPS, and I'm not just pandering. It just works better. But it's got to go through the mail. Then it's got to get to the quote mail room,
And then
and then
sorting.
someone's got to sort it. That's not a mail sorting person. They just probably got promoted from janitor or something. And then it's got to make it to the person, and then that person's got a stack of mail that they've got to actually literally open and go through. That's ridiculous. Just upload it and like name the file something that can be sorted on a computer. I know I've read this somewhere before.
We're gonna look into this, and maybe what we can call it. We can
Anybody ever
have
heard of Bill Gates? I think he found a solution for this. It's called Microsoft.
tomorrow. We're gonna phone a friend. Steve and Amanda Justice, please break down steps and timeline to report an injury. Who and where and what paperwork? Okay, these are, again, great questions, but this is why we have the chats. Even if you can't catch us live, you can always come back and you can always watch the video and you can always leave a question still on that, and we see the comments still.
Yeah, but I'll answer the question
Yeah.
if you'll read it again.
Please break down steps and timeline to report an injury. Who and where and what paperwork?
Okay, so paperwork is electronic now. It's a CA1 or CA2. It's on eComp. You go to ecomp.dol.gov, create your own account. It's simple. You have to answer questions on two screens, and it's questions you know the answers to, like your birthday. Everyone knows their own birthday and phone number, right? So you got to know stuff like that. And then you just click on the CA1 or CA2 button, whether your injury was in a single shift or on multiple shifts and it developed over time. And then prior to that, you should have reported it to your supervisor because you have to report now, especially on a CA1. Because if you report more than 7 days, you lose the ability to get a Form CA16 that pays your bills. And as I say this, and I'm trained in this better than anyone else, I hear how confusing this sounds. So replay this. On your CA1, box 15, letter A, elect COP, because the worst thing that can happen is they just take your sick and annual leave. If you take letter B there instead up front, they just take your sick and annual leave up front. So give yourself a fighting chance to keep that. And then choose your own doctor. Go to whatever doctor you have the most belief in that can get your claim approved. If you're not sure, go to Google and search OWCP work injury doctor in your city and state. If you happen to be in a location within range, and range is depends on what you think within range is, Some people drive hours to get to us. That's up to you. But if you can find Federal Injury Center's doctor, check out www.federalinjurycenters.com. And our claims acceptance rate is somewhere around 97% annually. And the rest of the federal world is at 14%. 97% claims acceptance rate if you're at Federal Injury Centers, 14% if you're anywhere else in the country. So choose wisely, because if you choose the wrong doctor, and almost all of them are the wrong doctors, unfortunately, and it's not their fault. They're smart people. They're just not trained in OWCP. And if you pick a doctor who's not, you can count on fighting an uphill battle all the way to the end.
I'm just laughing because in the TV you look like a skunk with your little white streak in the middle of your head.
I don't smell like a skunk.
Okay. Deborah Robin Lee Glaser. I go to FIC for years, but believe I need surgery. Can an FIC doctor refer me to an orthopedic doctor?
We do it all the time.
Absolutely.
Not only can we refer you to orthopeds, but we actually, in most cases, set up relationships with those doctors.
Right.
So that when we make the referral, they don't ask you for health insurance and money. Does that sound good or good?
Yeah. We can't say that. We cannot say that with all the
No, it's
doctors.
not everywhere.
But the
In a lot
ones
of
that we
places.
know in Florida, we have a list of them in Florida.
Yeah, a lot of places, the imaging centers are the same way. The imaging centers where you get MRIs and things, they have good relationships with our doctors, and they will hold the bills until we get the claim accepted and then bill it later instead of billing you out of pocket. And yes, that sounds both good and good. I can answer for you. What else we got?
So I've not claimed any mileage. How long do you have to claim it?
So I'm hearing, and I haven't been able to find this rule in writing.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, we heard a few things. I remember that.
But 1 year from when your claim's approved or from when the mileage happened. So don't wait. Anyways, if you wait, then you have this mountain of paperwork you have to sort through, and it's hard to get all the documentation. I'd be sending this stuff in like every 2 weeks max, if not every week.
Once your claim is accepted.
Yeah, just immediately like get it in.
Michael Kransky, how are you? How can you go about a claim for 2 hernias? I've been a carrier for 36 years. Can you get it accepted? I know we have gotten 2 of those accepted in Florida for sure. So yes, it can be.
Yeah, we've gotten hernias accepted lots and lots and lots and lots of times. It's not hard to determine that it was work related.
Chris Greening, I hope I said that right. How long will they allow someone to be on limited?
I know people that have been very, 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 very long time. So there's no rule about it. It depends on the agency, the supervisor, and the situation, and the union's strength. So
Terry said, I'm going to the New York FIC. Is that doctor good at writing up paperwork for OWCP? I met him a few times, but how is he with the OWCP paperwork? Didn't want to ask him.
no,
I would ask.
I would definitely ask, and these are my doctors. Yeah, you're gonna have no problem getting the paperwork done.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have? I know there's been a bunch here.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay,
now.
fantastic.
Michael Burnside, said I have to drive 320 miles round trip to a federal injury centers. Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. So I hate that. And of course, we want to have an office within range of all of you. I don't look at 125 as within range. I think that would be insensitive. But I hope it's working out for you. It's your choice. And I'm only saying that to you because there's people here that don't really know. It's your choice. You can pick any doctor you want. In fact, you're here watching us and you see that logo right there. You don't have to go to Federal Injury Centers. We're still going to be here next week teaching, and we hope you'll come back.
Steve said, I'd like to choose a physical therapist that won't bill insurance. They just don't bother with them. Cash payments only. Can I send in a bill? And we're not just promoting FIC, but any of our offices will never charge you anything. Not for an MRI, not for an x-ray, not to refer to the specialist, not for your hundreds and hundreds of therapy you're going to do. But we understand if there is no federal injury centers or you don't want to go there, it's okay.
But there's a form called an OWCP 915. That's it's for medical reimbursement. So any money you pay out of pocket, you can put the receipt that you paid there and send that in, and you have a chance to get reimbursed.
Todd Land, oh gosh. Do you guys accept investors for new centers? Um,
Yeah,
you can go ahead and private message me and I'll get your name and number over to our partner Joe who handles that and
yeah.
you can talk to him about that.
Yeah, we do that. I mean, so we have a vetting process, of course, to bring new centers on. Among other things, we don't want felons, of course. So, we have to vet them. But yeah, we are always interested in anybody that's interested in helping you.
Hey, I know this is probably Wendy or Amy Martucci. Thank you for answering a lot of these questions.
Yeah, that's cool.
Carly, what are the plans for your new national convention idea? I'm so excited. Okay,
This is all her. This is her idea, just like Wednesday Night Chats was. So tell us all about it.
so I finally got the date. We have to make the flyer. So our national Chris and Jeannie's national OWCP convention is going to be October 27th. I hope I'm saying that right. Yes, October 27th on our goddaughter's birthday. It's Sasha's birthday.
Yeah.
And it's going to be from 2 to 5. So it'll give us 3 hours and he's not going to rush it, but we're going to break it down like with AFGE, well, okay, with USPS, you have mail handlers, rural carriers, letter carriers, and clerks. So Chris will give some stats and talk about the differences with each one. AFGE, the ones that we've done, like the base, the prison, TSA, we'll go over a few of those things on like what their stats are, but basically it's the same way to file your forms and the same rules. So it's going to be October 27th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do it on all of our social media platforms like we do right now for chats. And then we're going to have a Zoom link. And I'm also going to create a flyer. Chris got to create the Zoom link, and I'm going to post that. Plus, I'm also going to post a PDF version of it because I had somebody that was in Iowa and Nebraska ask if our marketers are going to go out and give them the brochure. So they were looking forward to it. Unfortunately, if we don't have an FIC there, you won't be able to get the flyer.
Because we don't have people there, but we can
Right.
send it to you and you're welcome to distribute it.
So a lot of you have been emailing me. I know there's a bunch of AFGE locals that want their entire team on there, and you gave me your email address. So if you message me and give me your email address, I will definitely send you the PDF of the flyer, and you can print out as many as you want. You can slap them all over the post office, VA, TSA, whatever. But we know there's going to be a lot of people on this. Chris is hoping for a couple
100.
thousand people.
I'm hoping for 100,000.
We're gonna break.
So
When we say we're breaking OWCP, we're gonna break the internet with OWCP.
yeah, let me tell you something. I'm learning to have bigger expectations, and you should too. And like we have almost 15,000 followers on this page,
Mhm.
and I think we should have almost 1.5 million followers on this page. And why? Because nobody else cares to help you, and we're here all the time. So I'd like everyone to be here, and that's why I'm always telling you, come follow. We don't monetize this page, so we're
Yeah.
not making money off of this page. If even if we were, why do you care? But we're not. So we want to help as many people as possible. When I got into this business, it was on purpose. And when I told her about it, she didn't hesitate. We love doing this, and nobody's had more success on planet Earth at getting claims accepted than I have. And the only barrier I have generally to getting a claim accepted is knowing the person who needs it. So I expect to have at least 100,000 people watching this. I want to break Facebook. I want to have so many people watching that we have delays. That won't be good for you, but you get the point I'm making. I want to do something so big that, it can't be forgotten. So big that people are talking about it after I'm dead. And we're going to be doing these a couple of times a year.
Yeah, probably like 3 times a year. We'll start off at the beginning of the year again. Once we do this one, that will be the end for this year, and then we'll start again, and then maybe we'll come again like spring, closer to summer, and then again closer to the fall. So we won't do it to the end of the year because everybody is busy October, November, December.
Everybody meaning you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hi, Kristen, Genie, you skipped over my question.
Not on purpose. If I
Yeah,
hope
I
you
find it
reposted it.
doesn't come up on my phone when I'm not paying attention.
Repost it because there's so many
But she
people.
posted it here. I
Okay, great.
rebutted by a second opinion exam to OWCP. OWCP sent all documents to the same doctor. Oops. Asking for further clarification and to look up new evidence. There's supposedly only one second opinion doctor in Alaska. Ugh. Do you have to go back to him, or will he have to fly out to a referee doctor at some point?
You have to go wherever they tell you to go. They'll pay the bills, they'll pay the travel, but you have to go. If you don't, they'll cut off your benefits. And that's not fair, but a lot of no WCP is not fair.
Donna McNabb, I've been on limited duty this time for 3 years. Been told I will never be able to return to being a carrier.
Okay, so you do have options, and I'm not going to tell you up front that any of these are options that I like at all. You can change jobs to within the post office. You can change jobs within the federal government. You can go on OPM, federal disability, which I hate, but it's an option. And of course, you can go outside the federal government, but you didn't get employed at the federal government level with all those great benefits to just leave it. So I think you do have to maybe explore some other options. And don't forget to talk to your doctor and ask, is there anything else I can do? Like, what else? And as I said, all of those things, Donna, I don't like anything that I just said. I just can't think of anything better to tell you.
Terry says, I don't know why you guys love this kind of work because OWCP tries to make our lives miserable. For me, because I have a nursing background, so if I can help somebody, I'm going to help. Chris has been doing this since he was like 4 years old or so.
Well, look, I have also I have a large management background, and I've been in healthcare literally my entire adult life. And if I was the best in the world at anything else, I'd be doing that. But I'm the best in the world at this. And also, I'm extremely competitive. I have an athletics background, sports. I love winning. And you know what winning looks like to me? Accepted claims, getting better, and returning to work, and your supervisors having to just eat it. I love that. And I mean it. And if you know me, you know I mean it.
Kristen said, I keep forgetting about these sessions. I'm glad that I was home at this time.
Me too.
Don't forget, guys. Oh, we were kind of talking about this. Chris was thinking maybe we go 7 p.m. Eastern. We're still, if we do that, we'll probably do that like starting in the beginning of the year because we don't want to screw it up for I mean, we're already at the end of the year. But
Ask Carly and Holly Ann's questions. I like them both very much. They're right there.
yeah, that's what I was reading next. Did you ever make a decision on a possible audiobook venture?
Yes. I'm
We were
so
talking about
glad
that.
you asked, Carly. So many of you that have been here for a long time may notice that it looks different in here. We've been upgrading as we go. And one of the things that I'm able to do with these new upgrades is create an audiobook. I haven't done it yet, but absolutely it is on the agenda.
Yeah. Holly said, why do you dislike OPM retirement options?
So that's a great question. And I wanted to make sure we get the answer to that, because when you go on OPM disability, they pay you in the first year, get ready for it, 60% of your income. So whatever you're making now, multiply it times 0.6, and that's what they pay you in the first year. In the second year, it's multiplied times 0.4, 40% of your income. And starting year 2, all the way to retirement until you get off of OPM disability, you're only getting 40% of your income. And I don't know anybody that can live off of 40 or 60% of their income. The only upside to it, and it's not a great upside, is that while you're on federal disability, you can also go get a non-federal job. I like to use Subway. I say Subway all the time because I can make good sandwiches. That's not because I think you should do it. But you could say, for example, go get a job at Subway. And at the same time, you're getting that 40% or 60% in the first year. You can also make up to 80% of your previous federal income doing the non-federal job. So technically, you could make 120% of your income. But the only way that you get to do that is that you're so disabled from your job as a federal employee that you can no longer do it. So that's just some of the many reasons I don't like it.
Kristen, exactly what you said. They sent you to the same doctor 3 times and you finally had to complain. We always tell everybody, and this is one of the claims examiners, one of the senior claims examiners said, always, if you're having a problem with your claims examiner, CC the supervisor. And if they don't want to give you the supervisor's name, keep calling back till they give you the supervisor's name, because you have a right to talk to their supervisor and for them to change you if that person's treating you a certain way. And especially like your question about sending you to the same second opinion doctor and he's coming back and going against what you say, you have to let them know. Don't be scared, guys. This is your health, this is your lives, and that's your body. Make sure you fix it, and whatever you have to do it. So just submit a letter through eComp telling your claims examiner you want to discuss something with, or whatever the issue is, with their supervisor,
Right.
and they'll fix it.
The claims examiner supervisor. I'm glad you said that. I wanted to make sure we were clear that we're not talking about your supervisor, because
Yeah, claims examiner supervisor.
they're a lot of times idiots. So we're not trying to ask them questions.
Yeah, see, like John, hey John, always CC your supervisor and direct manager. Yep. And let's see, Donna, I'm only working 4 hours a day per FIC doctor because I'm now waiting to have carpal tunnel surgery. Only limited duty job is sitting at a computer typing, so that's becoming hard to do. Not much they can have me do not using, oh, to use your right hand.
Yeah, that's tough. And you know what, Donna, that's one of those just like circumstances. Is you're in a tough spot. I don't have to tell you that, but I hope you can get that surgery sooner than later. I've seen a lot of people have a lot of success with that carpal tunnel surgery. I think they call it a carpal tunnel release. I don't know. Maybe that's an old term, but I've seen people have good success with that. Your schedule award's going to be pretty nice too. Just saying. Not that you want that. You'd rather have the use of your hands.
Yeah. So we love the question that you guys asked tonight.
These are great.
And then don't forget, I'm going to go on the post that I made last night and tell everybody to come back and watch this video, because we answered most of them. If we did not answer your message, now is the time to put it down. And if I didn't answer any of if I skipped by accident the ones from last night, please let me know and we'll definitely answer them. But again, everybody, prepare for August 27th. This is like this. I want to make this big for him. It's going to be a big deal.
For me?
Yeah.
No. For them.
I know, but you're going to
Without
be
them,
training.
I'm not even relevant
So
without them.
when I'm telling you, I'm going to make 2 separate flyers, one for you just to post up on your social media, and the other one will be a PDF. We want this everywhere. We want all of USPS friends on there. We want all of AFGE friends on there. And there's so many other agencies that fall under these. We're so excited to do this because a lot of you are so upset. Yeah, it's October 27th. You guys, a lot of you, and we know with the national what they think and how they are, and it's okay. So this is why we decided to do this, because it's needed. And a lot of you that are not on and don't get to understand this, like there was a few questions that we answered from the post. How do you even go about OWCP? Chris is going to break this down so easy that you're not going to want 3 hours is going to go by so fast and you're not going to want to stop.
It really does go by fast.
Yeah.
And because there's going to be so many of you,
I know you will, John.
I'm going to get so many more questions, but I'll be prepared for that. I'm used to it. When I do the live trainings, like we were just in Lexington, Kentucky, there were only 15 people in the room. I've said this. I said it last week. I'll say it again. That was the funnest 15 people I've ever been around. But it was easy to do a 3-hour class with them because 15 people asking questions. They did great asking questions, like actually really, really great questions. But I think what I'm going to do is have such good information that you'll have very few questions, for 100,000 people. We'll see what happens. And I'm also going to have our staff on to answer questions in the comments.
Yeah, so we'll have a few staff members on doing the social media comments and answering that. I'll be up in the front with Chris looking at the Zoom comments that you're going to have. So we're going to break it down. He's going to go over, let's just say he's going to start like, what's a CA10? He'll go over that, pause, we'll read any questions. We're just going to stick to the questions that go with what he's teaching.
And I think that, so I pay for Zoom, and I don't know, I'm going to have to take a look. I don't know how many people at one time can be on my Zoom link. I think I pay the max amount you can pay.
I mean, Tony Robbins has like 10,000 people on his, so I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Well, I'm no Tony Robbins, but since he's doing it, I'm doing it too.
I think you should.
So yeah, I'd like to have a lot of you on Zoom. It'll be a lot of fun. You don't know this. I've got a monitor up there. And so I'm going to be putting Zoom up there so I can see your faces on a television, not just on a laptop screen. And I'm really looking forward to being able to interact with you. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to pause every once in a while and give the people that are on Zoom an opportunity to ask live questions.
And we're going to give you some breaks.
Yeah, we're going to get breaks because I'm going to need water and stuff. So, um, but this is the first time we've ever done it. I don't expect there not to be any hiccups. But with that said, we're also bringing our two audio video experts to just be live with us. It's not just going to be us. So we're planning on making this a really great production where I can actually share my presentation on the screen. I swear to you, if I had to do it right now, I wouldn't know how. But James and Robert know how.
Yeah, so we're bringing in the experts.
The big guns. We're bringing in
we're
the
bringing
big
the big
guns.
guns in. We're actually borrowing them from our coaches.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
that tells you a lot. Plus, we're not going to be doing it here. We are going to be in a hotel in an actual conference room. It's going to be just like we were setting up to see you guys.
Now, we have this whole new setup, and I'd love to do it here, but we also have people that live in this house that like to speak loud. They think the house doesn't echo. And I have a dog that likes to bark at every UPS driver and FedEx driver and USPS driver and Amazon driver that comes up. She has saved us from countless of you. I'm telling you that right now, just by barking at the door. And Gizmo likes to scratch everything all the time, like he's digging a china. So we have to get away from those distractions. So even though we have this beautiful setup now, we'll be someplace else.
So again, we are going to be doing a Chris and Gini OWCP national training. It is the exact training, a little bit more added since we're going to be covering two separate big unions, agents, USPS and AFGE. So it is going to be Sunday, October 27th from 2 to 5. It may go over. It's okay. We have nothing to do.
We're reserving the room for the whole day.
Yeah, we're just going to ask them for the
and
room.
we're reserving the two big guns for the whole day too.
Yeah.
So
what about the lawyer who can answer questions about schedule award? I don't think that'll happen this time, but Chris knows a lot. I mean, before we even met Eric Blowers, Chris knew a lot about schedule awards. Eric Blowers just filled in.
We're not going to have a problem.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to be able to tell you the dollar amount of your schedule award because there's like an algebraic equation that includes your impairment rating. And most of you don't have that yet. So it's going to be impossible for me to do it. But don't worry. What you're going to need to know, you're going to learn.
So again, it's going to be on Facebook, all the Facebook pages you see us on here. It's going to be on Instagram. These guys coming in are going to make sure it's on there. And it's going to be on TikTok as well. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. There's one I'm missing. Oh, and YouTube. And then Zoom for a separate one. I mean, it'll be all the same, but it'll be on Zoom.
Real fast. Chris Greening wants me to show us the dog. So everyone bear with me. It'll only take a minute.
Oh, our dog. Ellie, come here.
Okay.
Tell her, come up here. Come up here. Come to mommy. Look, say hi to everybody. She just woke up.
Okay.
Say hi to everybody. She literally just woke up. So that's Ellie. And yeah.
Look over here. Look over there.
Who's that? Look, who's that? You see?
Anyway, she's a big girl.
Yeah, she's half asleep still. Yeah, Carly, we did make a decision. Chris will be doing an audiobook soon. Yeah, she's a little pain in the butt.
That's Daddy's baby.
She literally takes up. We have a king size bed. We can't fit we have us two, and then she's in the middle, and then we have Gizmo shoved in the corner. That's his spot.
Yeah.
What else?
And Gizmo's up with one of the sons, so we can't show you.
Carly said, "Heck yeah," because we're gonna.
No, she said, "Hell yeah!" I know it'll be done. I've wanted to do that, Carly, for some time. Now I have the ability to do it, and I've got some connections that can help me with it. So
John Reverend, enterprise membership on Zoom gets I think 500 plus.
Well, I hope that's 500,000 plus.
Yeah, there's close to 3 million federal employees. Imagine just really breaking OWCP with 1 million people on. We'd be bigger than Tony Robbins.
Well, I just want to help more. I want to get more claims accepted. So, and by the way, we've gotten over 6,000 claims approved. Last year we were on the hashtag road to 5,000. We smashed it. So, the more people you tell, the more people we help. And nobody else can claim that they've gotten that many claims approved. Nobody. And I want them all
That's
to.
true.
Look, I don't really mind
Yes, John.
competition. Any competitor who does a good job for you, I have no problem with them. Competitors that jump in and all they care about is money, well, tell you what, they have a hard lesson to learn,
Yeah.
because if they don't get the claim approved, their money is zero. They make nothing. I just want to win, and I want you to win, and I want you to stop, going through financial destruction after an OWCP injury. We have this saying that the pain of the injury should not, the pain of the system should not be worse than the injury itself, but it is. The system is so painful, and we just make it less painful.
Yeah. Let's see. Donna McNabb, let's see. You said some of my injuries are my right shoulder, neck, right wrist, and somehow my left shoulder got added on eComp. Are these each individual separate to schedule awards?
Schedule awards go by whole body part. So you'll get an award for one arm and an award for the other arm.
Okay. You're going to get between now and October 27th. Yes, it is Sunday, October 27th from 2 to 5 p.m. You will see me probably post about this convention every single day, only because different people are seeing it different times of days every day, and we just got to get this pushed out. By the end of next week, the flyer will be out, the PDF will be out. I'm gonna have Chris turn the flyer into a PDF so I could email it to you guys. I'm telling you, even with the people out of state in the other states that does not have an FIC, I'm telling you, this is really going to help you in the places we don't have doctors yet. So start telling your friends. Maybe you can have like a barbecue Sunday, have the TV and the Zoom on, and have as many people as you can on, and make it a party while we're doing OWCP teaching.
And Sheila, you can stay where you're at. Everything's going to be fine. We have another solution coming your way.
And that's it. It's a wrap, guys. We will see you guys. Are we here next? Yeah.
Yep. Next
I
Wednesday.
got to make sure because I don't want to tell you guys we're here and then we don't show up.
Same bat time, same bat place. You got to be old like me to know what that means.
Next week, we're going to cover third-party injuries because Chris said something we read.
In other words, car wrecks, mostly car wrecks. We're going to talk about that because you guys are really getting hosed on those deals, and I can help you with that.
Car wrecks, slip and falls, dog bites, how it all works. So
how to win in those systems too.
Yeah. Education and pizza night. Oh, that sounds fun for the.
Oh, that sounds great.
That sounds great. So everybody get pizza.
Carly, the next time we're out in your area, let's make sure we do pizza night after the training. That'll be fun.
Well, no, Sarah made that really great chicken noodle soup.
We'll have the chicken noodle soup with
I gotta
pizza.
have my soup. I have to have soup with each dinner.
Yeah, we can do that too. But yeah, we'll do pizza night.
All right, guys. We will see you next week.
Yeah.
And if we didn't answer your question, or if you have any more questions, please just put them on the comments, and we'll get you guys later tonight or tomorrow. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, folks. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.